I'm
but
sure, dude.
I'm loving it.
Live. We're
All
live.
right, we're in.
Live.
We're in. All right. So, is anyone hearing an echo?
Probably is my guitar.
I don't think so.
Is it me?
Echo, etcha.
Okay. So we're trying this Instagram thing. We had some technical difficulties trying to do IG Live plus this yesterday because of feedback issues. So we are trying to connect here, and it says we are live. So you know what? Can't see us on Instagram? Go to YouTube. All right. Man, what a film. What a film, you guys. There's so much to talk about with this film. So I want to introduce all of you, but you give me the impression that you're going to do a much better introduction for yourself than I could ever do for you. So Adam, let's start with you.
I'm Kyle Gallner. I played Simon in Dinner in America.
Hey, I'm Emily Skeggs. I played Patty in Dinner in America.
Hi, I'm Adam the Man Rehmeier, and I wrote and directed and edited this film.
That's
How do we do?
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit exaggerated. That Adam impression.
I think you made a mistake.
Man, let's talk about this film. So I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room first, and then we're never going to mention the P word again for the rest of this conversation because I'm so sick and tired of hearing that word. But you get into Sundance, which is usually a pathway to basically get airplay all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happened in the world.
That's the P.
Gotcha.
That thing, spandemic. Yeah, the spandemic happened. And it's been virtual. It's been a lot of virtual stuff. So how has that been for you guys? How's the reception been to this film? We talked to a lot of festival directors today that were talking about the challenges of going virtual and all that stuff. So I'm more concerned about what are filmmakers and artists going through personally. I know that we have our own challenges, but honestly, not being able to meet your audience, especially with the type of audiences that you guys are going to get as opening night on pretty much like 30 festivals, it feels like it's fucking robbed opportunity. But I want to talk about how it's been for you guys. Go ahead.
I mean, on the filmmaker side, that's your part to kind of come down from the experience of putting things together. So, for me, it's like necessary. That's a necessary time. It's great when like we had such a just ruckus premiere at Sundance. It was batshit and it was great. And we followed it up with Kyle and I did one screening in Ann Arbor like a month later. And then everything shut down. And, while we've had, there have been a few opportunities to go to some foreign festivals, physically be there, I didn't feel like it was the, responsible thing to do. So I didn't travel for anything, and I haven't this year. And it's been extremely rough not doing that because it's a part of it that I really enjoy. It's definitely a necessary part of it. And it's been hard, but it's been hard for everyone. So it's that part, for this particular film, it feels really rough because this is such a people film. This is such a film that, you want an audience. It plays. One cool thing about the year is that, while we did, as many sort of prestige or art house festivals we also did a lot of great genre festivals. And so it plays with like an audience. It can play either audience. And that's a really fun thing that the film is nimble enough to do like kind of a prestige festival and then to do like a hardcore genre stuff where the lineup might be all horror films and then this film. That's so cool because having that sort of grindhouse adjacent quality to it, it makes it just a fun film to see with a crowd of people.
I think the one upside to it is that folks that like can't necessarily afford to get to Park City every year can watch our movie from their living room. And so I think in a way we've managed to reach more people than we would have if we were there at festivals. But there's a plus side.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, it is. There's nothing quite like seeing your film with an audience, but at the same time, like, I do feel like this has potentially broadened the horizons for, like what Emily said, like more, it's accessible to more people in a way, you know? So in that regard, it's cool, but you do miss getting to meet the people and the crowd and, you know, watching it with them and just feeling the energy, especially with a film like this. This, you know, like Adam said, I mean, that premiere at Sundance was like rowdy as hell. So you're kind of chasing that feeling again. And it's like, you know, you want it, but you know, I'm just happy people are getting to see it.
Yeah.
I completely agree, and I think, you know, every film has a really long life, you know, ahead of it. You know, there's going to be, you know, theatrical distribution potentially. There's going to be VOD. So all of this support that you're drumming up right now, and especially with the type of support that a film like this can really generate, because it's so unique and it's so damn memorable. So let's talk about a few of the things that I want to get into. So number one of our programmers had a question about the audience. So have audiences understood the satirical elements of your film, and what is their reaction to your film's really quirky style?
I'd say yes and no. We've had a few walkouts like right away, and you're like, oh fuck you, just wait, hold on a second.
Wait 20 minutes.
Wait. but then at the same time, if you don't have, I feel like if you're not, especially with a film like this, if you're not sort of, if it's not a polarizing experience, it's most things for me. If they're not kind of polarizing, they're not worth doing. So
okay.
Yeah. So what was the question?
I think what's most surprising about this movie is that like people you don't expect to love it come up to us after saying, "I love this." Like an 80-year-old woman was like, "That was me. I was Patty. I fucking love this movie." And you don't expect it, but it just keeps happening over and over and over again. I think it really just goes to show that the movie, as much as it's super specific and like satirical in these really specific ways, it's really universal.
Yeah.
We all feel these feelings that Patty and Simon feel, and we all go through this.
Yeah, I think one of the big things too that people have an issue with, which is kind of surprising to me, is I think some people are in, like, the first 20 minutes of the film is intense. You know, it's gnarly for a reason. And I think what surprises me the most is the amount of people who not the amount, but the people who are like, well, it's not like that. And it's like, oh, no, buddy, the world is exactly like that. And if you're telling yourself it's not, you're lying to yourself. So you have this interesting thing where these people are like, they can't wrap their head around or like accept parts of the beginning of the movie. But it's like, you know, the movie has to show the harsh realities of the world. The movie has to show what the harsh reality is for somebody like Patty and what this goes through. And you have people in the back. I mean, you have people in the audience, like Emily said, would raise their hands and be like, thank you, because you know what? That was me every day on that bus. Every day I was Patty on that bus. You know, there was people that really relate to that first 20 minutes. For every person that has an issue with it, you got people who are like, no, dude, that's the way of the world. You know, and the world is ugly sometimes.
Well, to speak to the point of universality, I think one of the themes that I picked up on in this film, and I think a lot of people probably pick up on, is feeling like an outcast, feeling like you don't belong. And I think that that's a message that probably has resonated with every single human being. Yeah. So making a film about that, like this, I think, you know, of course you're going to get people who are 80 years old who can remember, you know, feeling that way. They probably feel that way right now. So you're split, you know, so it is a specific film, but sometimes very specific and personal films become very universal, especially if you dig deep enough, and clearly you guys have. So this is a question from our other programmer, Kayla. So it says, with a dark comedy like this, tone is super important. So how do you pitch to your actors to make sure they understand your vision?
Well, with the case of Emily and Kyle, I think just them looking at the script and reading the script, I think this particular script was specific, like very specific. So my response to that really is my response to everything. It's like, use your intuition. Like if you have two actors that are checking something out, the conversation that you have right after they read the script is going to dictate everything. The next. So it's just like it's like a job interview. It's a different. Yeah, I mean, it is a job interview, but it's like that conversation you have, the things that come up, it's all going to tell you. It's all going to lead you like down a path. Like, do I want to work with this person? Is the energy right here? So for me, it's like a super intuitive process of just the conversation that we have after they've read the script, the kinds of things that they're talking about. Do I like this? Do I like where this is going? I just, with both Kyle and Emily, it felt like inherently correct, and that's like enough for me to initiate at that point and want to keep going.
You're
Awesome.
selling yourself short though, because we did have 2 weeks of rehearsal before we started shooting.
But you were talking about the genesis of it, like actually casting them, or no? Did I make that part?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that was exactly it.
Oh,
It was in the entire process, because it's like how you approach that. I've always believed this as a director, that once you lose the trust of your actors, the potential for a great performance or something like really remarkable, it's gone, right? Like you lose that right away. And it's not because they don't want to give it to you, they just don't know how to, because they're second guessing everything, and being an actor is super hard. So working with a director who gets you and someone whose work that you can connect with is like, that's the recipe for something like this to actually occur. And even then it's damn rare. So it requires
making it about the work too, like making it all about the work. You can't go wrong with that. If it's all about like how you're going to craft this character and how you're going to execute it, you can't go wrong. If that's the dialogue that you're hyper focused on, then it's win-win right there.
Yeah, and where we were really lucky is like we didn't feel like we had to fix anything or change. You know what I mean? Like the world Adam had created was so specific. Like we get the question sometime of like, "Wow, that looks like fun. How much improv was that?" Or what? And it's like there was basically none.
Yeah.
The world was super, super specific. So by the time we had stepped in and we had talked to Adam and everybody, meshed and it was go time. The real work came down to like, okay, who are Simon and Patty in this world? How do they walk through this world? What does that look like? How does that feel? So we really got to, it was super character focused and like relationship focused. And like Emily said, we had this 2 weeks of rehearsal where, we did the music, we got to hang out, we weren't like beating scenes to death. We were just walking around in the skin, like it was a really kind of unique experience in that way. It was pretty great.
We all became friends. Friends.
Yeah, I think that's more important. I think that if that's a question that somebody has too, like how important is it to run lines and do that type of stuff? As important as you want it to be, I guess, like if somebody doesn't have, like for Kyle and Emily, if one of them, the other scene partner would have been less confident in some way, then I'm sure they would have been doing that. But if not, then it's like vibe on each other, get to know your scene partner for, it's going to be these two for the bulk of the film, so get to know that person and like have some real experiences with them. They were off doing their own thing. I had a ton of stuff like housekeeping to do on my end and with the cinematographer and the production designer. So I was pretty, and I have kids and stuff too. So I was pretty cooked. Like, these two were like sending me pictures of steak dinners and shit that they're having. So it's just cool.
We would cook with each other and we hung out all the time. We got in all sorts of antics out there.
I think it's really rare that a filmmaker edits his own film and it doesn't turn into a complete train wreck. Can we talk a little bit about how you did that? Because killing your babies is different, you know, on the editing floor. When it's your own babies, like they're things, you know, you're so connected to it. So how do you disconnect from it? Explain that process.
I've been an editor for a long time too, over 10 years. So, you know, like you said, with killing your darlings is 100% the biggest takeaway, you know, like be precious with any moment that you've written or anything. Like I killed entire scenes that I thought were super cool. I killed entire things that it comes down to. I don't believe in outtakes and like all, you know, like some director's cut type of, you know, like some kind of extended thing. I mean, obviously when you're doing stuff at a studio level, yes, there can be such a thing, but you know, the cut is the cut. So you need to listen to your film. You need to listen to it. Your film will tell you what it needs to happen. You have to listen to it, and you have to, you know, so many passes on it. I would say the last 3 passes of the film are all 1 or 2 frames, you know, a pass, like at a time. They're all 1 and 2 frame changes. That's it. You get to the microscopic level eventually. And, you know, hang with it, like reinvent. Every film, every independent film, without any doubt, the problem with it is the first act. It's always the first act problem, especially, you know, so compress your first act, like really focus on what needs to happen there. Sometimes you're going to have to reimagine the film in a way that you don't want to do, but nobody else will fucking notice whatsoever, only you. So it's only your ego that you're holding on to with this idea that's so precious to you. But once you let go of that and you're flexible and you allow another thing too, if we're talking straight editing, I've cut on film. I've physically cut on film. I've hung film and done all of that. This is non-linear editing now. Just fucking do it. Just experiment with it and see. You can do it like in the time that you're sitting there fucking like, do I want to do that? Just fucking do it really quick. You can do it in like 10 minutes and then you won't have, like, you can sleep at night knowing that you tried that and it didn't work. It's so easy to do. Like, whereas, you know, 30 years ago, it'd be a whole process and it would just be, you know, you're losing your mind doing it. So, yeah. Okay.
You know, I really appreciate you saying that because, you know, one thing I'm getting as a vibe from all 3 of you and all those emails and all this conversation is there's just no bullshit. And I absolutely love it. And
yeah, take the bullshit out, 100%.
Yeah, because you know what? There's so much politics in film. There's so much politics. There's so much politicking that happens. And it's like the antithesis of actual art, you know? Yeah. So it's like the art and commerce intersection. You know, that's what Penn Man's panels have been all about all weekend. We're trying to talk to programmers from TIFF and et cetera, and talking to them about, okay, we get that you need to understand the business side of things. Like you definitely, there's a way to do things and you do have to line yourself up with the right business moves, but not at the expense of art. So, you know, it's been really cool. It's really cool to have such an open discussion. And, you know, I do want to segue this into something that we were talking about before we went on, which is your first, your feature film, The Bunny Game, right? Now, I read a review of this film. I read a review of your current film, you know, so I was just curious. I was like, I don't want to ask Adam every question that he's already been asked. Right. So I want to ask him something he hasn't been asked. And I read this review and it said, oh, we'll forgive The Bunny Game. So I was like, well, how bad could this, you know, how bad could this film have been? And I checked out the trailer and I read about it and I'm like, man, this sounds super interesting. Yeah. And the trailer looks highly stylistic, and they were saying, oh, well, because you jumped genres and, you know, that you really reinvented yourself as a filmmaker. And I kind of resented that comment. And I was like, it sounds like it's a continuation of a similar thought. So let's talk about this notion or misconception that you know, somehow, you know, like, I don't even know what the fucking word is, but yeah, I think you get what I'm saying, like what the misconception is.
Well, and with regards to genre hopping, get used to that because every project I have is radically different in a new space. Like I'm never going to repeat myself in space. So they're all I want to try to find of things that I like. I want to try and do as many, I shudder to say a lot of them are kind of hybrid, like genre mashups, sort of like this was, like I said, this film can play, strangely, it can play Grindhouse adjacent. It's not because of the subject matter, it's more of the energy that's going into it. So
absolutely.
So with the bunny game, I'll just make it super snappy. It was a specific idea that a collaborator and I, Rodleen, who starred in the film, it was a joint effort as far as like how it was developed and came about. And it came out of past trauma with her and became a cathartic way for her to process some of that and make art out of it. So my process is the same in every single thing I do. The budgets could change or the approach could change, and that I handled all of the production myself. I didn't have any crew or anything like that, but for a reason, because it had to be a level of intimacy with her and me and some of the other peripheral characters in it that it was an experience for us to have. And I'd like to give, every time I do something, I'd like to give my actors an experience. I'd like them to feel like they're not making a film, that they're having an experience and we're having that experience together. So, Bunny was also at a time when I was helping a lot of other people with their dreams, like whether it was shooting or editing or whatever it was. And it was more about doing something that didn't require all of the traps and trailers and all of the crap. It was like something that was nimble and handheld, and I could run and I could do it. And I got a lot of fulfillment, like shooting it in the style that I did, which was almost like I hid for a lot of it. We did stuff in downtown LA all over, and it was gnarly, and people didn't know that I was shooting. So that was really cool. It was like almost like National Geographic, at a time, certain points.
It kind of makes me feel like it was like Breathless, a little bit.
It was like a punk rock, gutter. It was like a gutter punk prostitute, Breathless. It was like, yeah, in a way.
That's so interesting. I want to ask Emily and Kyle, what do you look for when you're choosing what directors you want to work with? Because there's a lot of actors out there who follow Pendants, and a lot of them are just, how do I pick where is my where's my artistry got to be tapped? Where's you know what I mean? Like where am I going to be put in a position to actually shine? Because I've seen a lot of actors get slammed for a bad performance, right? In a particular screening and whatever.
Sure.
And I honestly, I read the script and I'm like, Brando couldn't have saved this shit.
Well, it's like,
so,
what was it? Sean Penn did a movie a couple of years ago that he got slammed in, and I think he said something where he's like, I'm Sean Penn. If the movie sucks, it's not my fault. You know what I mean? Like, as the actor, it's like, I know that's a weird thing to say, but in a way, sometimes it's not totally unfair because there are so many factors involved. Like, to me, one of the things I said to Adam when I finally saw the movie, I was like, you made me so much cooler than I could ever fucking be. You know what I mean? Like, he picked these little moments, like little over-the-shoulder looks, little whatevers. Like, so a lot of it comes down to trust, and trusting that you got the right person for the job, trusting that you've read the script that you like, trusting that it's a character that you really feel like you can do something with. And this was one of those ones where it was like all three. I read the script, fell in love with the script. I was like, this thing's crazy. I really want to talk to the guy who wrote it, and me and Adam talked, and we talked for like 3 hours or something, and we just really, really hit it off. And there was a part of me that was like, I really believe in this guy. I believe he knows what he's doing. I believe in what he's written. I believe in his vision. I believe in his everything, because I've read things that are really cool. And then I've sat down with the director and I've talked to them and I've called my people and been like, I can't do this. Like, with him or that it's not going to be what's here. It's just not. But again, like you said, it's like mixing business and art and stuff. And then sometimes you just got to take a fucking job. And there's no shame in that either. But every once in a while, everything comes together, you know? And those are the good ones. Like, there's nothing wrong with working to work. There's nothing wrong to work, to survive, to live, even just to sharpen your craft. There's nothing wrong with working.
No.
It's the ones that come along like this, that are that secret sauce, that special thing where everything clicks together, that you're like, that's why I work, to get to these things, because this is the shit. It doesn't mean you didn't enjoy the other films or make good friends or whatever. But, you know, you get a handful in your whole career that are like that magic feeling of like, damn, this is everything I've been chasing.
Yeah.
This is why I do this. This is it. And a lot of that has, you know, and I attribute most of that to Adam and where he started, you know, and his choice to bring Emily on and his choice to bring his crew on. I mean, he couldn't have picked a better squad.
No.
You know, I mean, I couldn't have had a better scene partner in my fucking life than Emily. I mean, that girl Skeggs gives every part of her every second of the day. And Adam is there to trust his actors and to tell the story he wants to tell, man. I mean, it's like, it was like a one-of-a-kind experience. You know, I've had good experiences before, but this was one that I was like, this is crazy. This fixes everything, you know?
I think the notion that we like get to choose who we get to work with is like really like, let's obliterate that. Because even when you're at the top, you don't really have a choice. You know, it's like really, you just have to, when you find someone that you work really well with, just stay in touch, make more stuff with them. That's really how it's done, is try a bunch of things out and surprise yourself. Maybe you'll be like, I don't think I'm going to work well with this person. And then you get there and things could change.
But also, I do think, to what you're saying, I do think like how you're talking about how, you know, you don't have the power to choose. Sometimes you co-star. Sometimes you're excited to work with somebody and you don't get along. I mean, there's 1,000,001 things that could happen. But I think the one thing people need to remember, that your biggest form of power in this is your ability to say no.
Yeah. And
I think that's what it is. That's really where the power comes in, where you don't have to do something. Yeah. You know, you can say no. You don't want to work with that guy? Guy gives you a bad vibe? No, dude, I don't want to work with you. You know, like, I think that's important to remember as well.
Yeah.
I think there's so much there, right? Because you know, there's a lot of tangents we could go off. Number one is
100.
Yeah, like, right? Because you're talking about Skeggs and everything that she gave to the scene, and one thing I've realized is great actors and very strong actors, I don't watch them. I watch their scene partner. I watch what they're giving to the other person, because great actors, in my opinion, every time I've ever seen one operate on set, and I've seen a few, it's always in the other person. It's how they're responding when they're not on camera, even when they're not even on, it's an over shoulder on them and they're not even on camera. They're giving that other person a platform, and they're giving it to them. And you know, yeah, you're right. You can't choose, you know, you can choose your director, but you can't choose not to pay the bills. I get that, right?
My favorite one, Robert Downey Jr. Like, you watch him in like Home for the Holidays, Wonder Boy, Zodiac. He gives so much to his scene partners. It's incredible. Those three films right there, they're very different from each other. Home for the Holidays, Wonder Boys, and Zodiac, and I just so good. That's probably, I think, I can't think of a better example of a giver, you know, that gives, you know. Well, these two here were really fantastic, but you know, like
we have a ton of audience questions popping up here. I'm gonna let them populate. I'm gonna ask you one last question before I turn it over to the audience. And by the way, if you're listening, if you have questions for Kyle or Emily or Adam, please ask them. So I guess one last question is, you've intercepted two very interesting emotions, which I think don't get the proper due for how connected they are, which are humor and anger, right? So talk about that, because, you know, anger doesn't have to be serious, right? So So what goes into that intersection? Because you talked about genre blending and how unique this film is in that sense. And I think this is also emotional, because I'm feeling two things at the same time, and that's what's making it resonate so hard.
I think, at the genesis of this particular film, it's on the page that way too. So it starts there, and Kyle embodies Simon, and Emily embodies Patty, and they're in 100%. They're giving everything, and so they're open, And so when we're on the day when we're doing the work, now of course we're talking about editing earlier, so you can always take a look out of context. I didn't do that very much with this film, like just as a personal choice. I tried to keep you can always do that in anything. A comedy is like, they're using out of context reactions all the time, and it's like, it can be great, but I kept this one really truthful to how Emily and Kyle were reacting to each other and their their parents and all of this stuff. And so
Real magic?
What's that? Really?
Real magic?
Real magic? Oh God, I wish that could be in. We can talk about real
Sorry,
magic.
God, I didn't mean to cut you up.
No worries. But so I think that it's an interesting love story in a really hard genre where you have two misfits that are just such polar opposites, and you bring them together. It's just such a unique experience. And I would be, if I was smarter, I'd be worried about that. But I don't try to analyze anything. I literally intuitively do everything. So it's like the producers could say, what's this song going to be? Because it's so important to the movie. And my response would be, we need to cast the movie, because I can't make the song without the vessel. It's not going to happen. It wouldn't be authentic if I go into a studio and I sit there and I strum something and I play some drums and then I, do this thing. And then I cast Emily and I say, here's everything, here's what you sing and you hit this here. It's one thing, but it's not the thing that the film needs. You have to identify what emotionally the film needs. So, this is all connected to your question somehow, but it's about, because you were talking about anger and you were talking about, what was the other one? Anger and
humor. Well, I think that's the real world. It's like you have people who are crying their eyes out who then start laughing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like these emotions really aren't that far apart from each other. You can be happy 1 second and turn on a switch in a second, which makes the person in front of you laugh their ass off even harder because they're laughing at how angry and ridiculous you are. So I think, so much of this is all just so interconnected, and these characters really do go through, they run the gambit of everything. Simon obviously has a bit of a anger issue, perhaps. I think so a lot of it stems from the humor stems from his frustration with the world, his anger at the world that I think a lot of people can relate to. So while he's enraged, everyone's going, I fucking totally get that. That makes sense. Yeah, fuck China Hut. You know what I mean? Like, fuck America. Fuck this. Fuck whatever. Like, whatever I say in the car. It's like, it's just the frustrations of the world all coming out, I think everything is just so close together. And it's like a straw that breaks the camel's back thing, the distance between, any one of these emotions.
I think the key to humor is that you're recognizing, you're like, oh, I feel that too.
Right.
And that's why you laugh. And I think that a lot of people relate to the movie on an angry level because we've all been through that or been bullied or experienced other people feeling that anger. So the humor comes out of the oh shit, I went through that too.
Right. Yeah, I want to tell that guy to fuck off. I don't want to work this shitty job. I don't want to do this. I would love to walk into my place of work and tell the boss to go fuck himself. You know what I mean? Like
the lady at the check cashing place. The lady at the check cashing place.
Yeah, lady at the check, just give me my fucking money. You know what I mean? Stop fucking like everybody. They want to do these things. You know, it's real world situations. You know.
Yeah, I was going to say that as opposed to setting up jokes. Like if you're setting up jokes, I don't feel like there's a lot of longevity for something. Like yes, it can be funny, and I always love to have something teed up because I love to laugh. So it's like great when somebody tees something up, but it feels like a cheaper payoff. Like I feel like this is super grounded, and then like Emily and Kyle have like grounded it in a way that makes it very human. And once you get to that place, then you're looking at something a bit more universal, that you can have that 80-year-old woman and a 15-year-old boy all agreeing on something like similar. Right. So it's that part of it, and I think that's because a lot of the things it's not joke writing, it's like situational, and it's just like honey, don't do that.
It's the fucking old lady sitting next to you on the bus.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
It's like,
it's like it's life.
What's cumin? Don't start this now. Just eat your taco salad. Right. That type of shutting things down. And Norm with his glass of water. That shit was fun to edit.
Okay. I am done being a selfish jackass and hostile. Basically.
We'll talk all fucking night. So.
Oh my god. I would love that. And if we, but I've been hogging you guys because I had so many questions to ask you, and our programmers had so many questions. And they sent me like, can you please make sure to ask this? And and as I've been saying it, this entire feed has populated with so many questions and comments. So
cool. Let's
just go through them. All right, number 1.
Thanks, Eliza.
Hey.
Oh shit! I'm just now seeing that there's all these things over here. Okay.
That's so nice.
Oh, I didn't. Mine was set to private chat, so now I'm looking over here.
Well, he's running them down on the thing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I need to pay attention. Okay.
Okay. That was when I opened it up. Okay. Now here comes the questions. Okay, I'm just gonna read it out for you. Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. This movie is so visual, emotional, honest, uncovering so many little details that make us human and make us even question why we do certain things. This is a run-on question here. A couple of questions about acting. Oh my God, I could not look away for a second. Could you please elaborate on how you created the chemistry between the cast? All right. This question continues. You want to keep
Let's keep going.
It's 5. Okay. Every emotion, situation, interaction was so genuine and so real. Almost every single scene is so provoking, out of line. How do you reach the level of trust and playfulness between each other to produce such a fearless bomb performance? All right, you're speaking our language. Also, Kyle and Emily, personally, how hard or easy was it for you to allow yourself to dive deep into these characters? And then an apology.
That's
we love it. Okay.
You want to start it? Go, Em. Go.
I think we just it's really important what Adam said about creating a level of trust and getting to know each other. And we Adam, we chatted the first time we chatted for 2 or 3 hours. You really from the get-go made it very clear that this was going to be something where we really got to know each other, and immediately that felt I felt a level of respect that was really important for me. And I think as an actor, feeling respected and feeling like we have a common language, and then of course having an incredible scene partner like Kyle just makes it so much easier to dive deeper into the character, because I know Adam's got my back, Kyle's got my back, and I can try something super weird and I trust that either Kyle will go for it or Adam will say, don't do that. And it's okay because we're all working together. We're all working together in the service of the script,
Yeah. It felt like there was a lot of nets there to catch us. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like anything was off limits. Sometimes you feel with a director or with an actor or somebody you're holding back a little bit, or almost you're trying to pull something out of somebody, or what. This was this weird combination of Adam, I think the coolest thing he did was he was like, look, I wrote the script, we did this, but these guys are yours now. Like Simon is yours, Patty is yours. You know, he's like, and we all worked to build who they were, and I worked with Adam closely, and I'm sure Skeggs, you did too, right? Like we had numerous conversations about character. We had numerous conversations about, you know, even just physicality stuff of like how Simon eats and how he walks and what do you think about this and what do you think about that. So by the time we got there, we were just kind of not ready to go, but that 2 weeks of rehearsal allowed us to even dive deeper. Because the funny thing, you know, the weird thing is like the way Simon comes across on screen versus like when you're shooting the movie, there would be so many takes I would finish and be like, that fucking sucks. I'm fucking this whole thing up. Like, I don't feel like I have it. I don't feel like I have that fucking thing, you know, and either Emily would pick me back up and be like, no, dude, you're there. It's good. And she would be right there with me in the next take, pushing it even. Like you said, you want to talk about how important it is on the other side? When you're not on camera, you can fucking push it at somebody and get them to a place. And Emily always had my back every day on this thing. And Adam always
push it for your editor.
Dude, he was just looking out for us the whole time. And he really just made sure me and Emily were really taken care of. And I cannot emphasize the importance of a safe set and feeling comfortable with your director and feeling comfortable with your co-star, because really, that allows you to just go as far as you need to go because you're not worried about falling flat. You're not worried about some bullshit. You really just, like Emily said, you can do something weird and the person will be right there with you. Like there's a huge amount of trust that was in this movie. Sorry, that was a long rambling thing, but like,
it's good.
I wanted to say
huge, but that's a huge part of it.
I wanted to say it starts with intention. Why these people? Why do they want to do it? And then you go from there. Like you start with why, you start with their intentions and what are their intentions like, and what do they want out of the experience? You know, because
I want to throw a fucking chair through a window.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's good. I think I don't think you can fake this. You know, I really don't. You know, it's so easy to put off an actor, and you can put up all the appearances and stuff, but if you're not genuinely the type of person that they can trust, I think they see through it very quickly. And I have a lot of friends who are actors. Eliza, who just asked that question, I know for a fact she is an actress. So it's super important. Now we have there's so many questions. I wish I could actually generate these into like a sequential response because some of them are talking about the guitar, some of them are talking like, can we? Okay, well, let's try this. Okay, so we got Ariana Farina, and for those who don't know and didn't tune in, Ariana is a programmer for Dances with Films. So hello, Ariana, and we love your film festival. And where can we get the song?
Well, we're working on it. Sorry for the delay. The pandemic has hosed things a little bit on some fronts. So I promise nothing short of vinyl and all of that when it's time. So I do, and apologize for not having it sooner. But there's some things I can't control. You know, I'd love for Ariana to have it right now. So
okay, this is a comment from another filmmaker. This is our audience. They're like filmmakers and artists. Cool. I love it. This is our community. So Jillian Ackerman is a feature filmmaker. She says, I love this trio, super earnest and in touch. And she's got apt judgment as well. All right. We got a question here. What's with the guitar, Adam? Did you not watch the film? All right, Jason. All right, what's with I guess he's asking why is it with you in the interview?
Why not?
I would say why not. I love playing guitar. Like especially, I've been playing for 30 years now. So, and whenever I usually have something around every day, like I have something close by. If I want to pick it up and just noodle around, I do that a lot. Like I take a lot of breaks like that and think and just noodle around with stuff when I'm in between things. So for me, it's like, it's not a prop. It's just like a daily thing. I'm doing something with it. So,
I've been to your house. You have it all
I'm always
All day.
around.
He picks it up like 80 times a day and just
He leaves me voice messages of him playing.
You'll leave me voice messages of you playing.
Oh,
What the actual hell, Adam?
sorry, Adam. I didn't realize.
We're gonna have a talk after this.
Okay, I'm gonna go through the comments and then we're gonna go through the questions because they are different. Or should we use comments to act as pauses between questions? That's what I'll do. I'll leave comments. Yeah, because these are getting away from me. I'm not like some sort of live stream expert. Like I'm 33 years old and I should be better at this. I know that.
You're doing your best.
You're doing great.
What has age got to do with it?
Oh, because generally when people say that they don't know how to run live streams, you assume that they have a cane and a walker. But you know, I've been holed up during this pandemic. I refuse to do this online thing, and we spent all year telling people what virtual film festivals suck balls, and now we're running one and trying to convince them absolutely the opposite. So, you know, my whole thing was we're going to do it differently. So come watch how people who don't like virtual film festivals try to actually run one. So, okay, let's see. Comments. Stella, love this film.
Thank you.
Okay, and a question.
Ooh, look at that. I like that. You guys seem like best friends. Did you bond on the film? We all?
Yes.
I'll tell you a great way to bond with your actors. When they arrive, take them out for patty melts. You pick them up. Don't send somebody else. Don't send anybody. Go pick them up yourself. And then the next day, you throw them in the meat grinder immediately and make them rock out. You put them, you do all the music the second you do. Like they get there that night. Then you throw them in. You make them do all the music, and you make Kyle blow his voice out. And the next day, you're like, Emily, we're doing the centerpiece song for the movie today. And she's like, what is it? And we're like, we don't know. Let's do it. And we just do it. So the best way to bond music is a great unifier. So this goes back to Jason's thing with what's with the guitar. Well, music is a great unifier. And, you know, Emily and I were sending music back and forth. I think Kyle and I did a little bit. I made both mixtapes. I made Simon mixtapes. I made Patty mixtapes. I sent them. They had all of them, A-sides, B-sides, great references there. But doing something like an activity together is worth its weight in gold, even if it's not something that's going to be for your film. Just doing something together that's not related to the film. In this case, we did the music, but so for this particular film, I always like to point out that we were 2 days into what was technically a rehearsal period of the film, and we already had the emotional, like the strongest emotional part of the film already worked out. We already knew where we were going with it, like emotionally on day two. And so the rest of the film was really just pulling back and launching it towards that part of it when we were going to execute that, which for us happened to be the end of the second week of the film with this schedule. So, you know, I think it was super important for us to have that bond. After we recorded the music together, I swear there wasn't anything else that we had to do. Like, we emotionally understood each other because Kyle physically sang, you know, put the vocals on the punk stuff, and Emily and I physically did the song together. So and Kyle was there. So all of the energy was there, and we already knew each other and had bonded like 2 days into it very deeply. And at that point, it really just became about execution and, you know, being present for each other every day.
Yeah, it was like seeing people at their most vulnerable. Like, as soon as you get to it, was like we might as well all just been naked and been like, here we are. Like, it's like so stripped down, you know.
When Disco Assault came in and when Matt was fucking laying that shit down, you shit your pants slightly. It was a little bubbly in there, a little bubbly in the back.
I freaked out a little bit, and then Emily was like, "You're great, you got this." I was like, yeah.
They're a fantastic group of guys, and their music is solid and very, I would imagine, for Kyle, because Kyle's not some rocker kid, and to just be thrown into that and be like, okay, now you're the singer in a band,
Yeah. I mean, I grew up listening to luckily I grew up listening to like punk and hardcore music and stuff like that, so I did I was familiar with the
familiar, but you got to admit, on the day in that situation,
it's extremely intimidating. You're in there with like a
Skeggs
real fucking punk band, and you're like, oh my god, I have to sing your songs, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. You know, it's super intimidating. But no, we got super close, and then when we started filming, you know, Adam got really busy, and then me and Emily hung out all the time.
I think this one is for you because you mentioned this, Kyle, about working to work. There's an idea that an actor, you have to create an image as if every single project has a heavy impact on your career. What are your thoughts on this opinion? I think this can be directed to anyone, honestly, but go ahead.
I mean, I think that's bullshit. I mean, I think especially when you're starting, it's like you got to work. You know, you're not going to just jump into The Godfather. You're not just going to jump into, you know, these things. And also the studio system and the way the industry was 30, 40, 50 years ago, that's not what it is anymore. You know, you have this like instant gratification. Let's throw up this stuff on Netflix. Let's do this. Like, you know, these people were, it was the era of the movie stars basically over. If you really think about it.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
fair.
It's not what it used to be. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with working to work and to get it done. I mean, your good ones will always be good, and the bad ones people will forget, or they'll laugh about later because they're like, geez, I mean, fuck, DiCaprio is in Critters. You know what I mean? Like it just is what it is. Just like, as long as you're not, here's the thing I will say. Don't ever take a job without showing up to play. If you're taking a job saying it's bad, you're going to judge it, and then you're not going to do your job, go fuck yourself, because there's 1,000 other people that would like to be there. So if you know a job's not a great job, but you said yes, you show up like it's the greatest job in the fucking world.
Yeah.
And you do your job, because there's so many people there that you are letting down by not showing up and coming to play. It's hard to make a movie. It's hard to make even a bad movie. So when you show up and you like fuck around, that's not cool. So just work to work when you can. If you have to, there's no shame in it. And those good ones those are the ones that'll stay. That's the staying power. You know, look at any of these famous people's IMDb. I guarantee there's 15 movies you've never heard of on there. You know?
And there's 15 movies they've removed. So that's probably true too.
Dude, I mean, look at friggin' Nick Cage. That guy makes like 30 films a year. You know what I mean? But adaptation is the shit.
Valley Girl.
Huh?
Valley Girl, bro.
Dude, Valley Girl's the shit. You know, Leaving Las Vegas is the shit. Con Air, let's go. Let's get crazy.
Moonstruck. I like Moonstruck.
Moonstruck is one of my
But that's what I
favorites.
mean. Those are the ones. Those are the ones we're all listing, right? Go through his IMDb. There's a ton you've never even heard of.
And I think that's true of like any artist, any famous anyone.
Totally.
You know, like we all go through different avenues in life. You just don't, you know, like Picasso's famous for painting, but he's not famous for a bunch of other things he did.
Right.
Or Matisse, or, you know, you can list do you know how many people out there are also incredible drummers?
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
we
absolutely.
all
Emily
this whole
Skeggs,
life.
incredible drummer.
I wish.
No, we saw it on camera. Like,
Skeggs, drummer extraordinaire.
our drunk Phil on camera. That was so good.
Okay, this is a great question. Again, from Ariana. Where do you see these characters 10 years from now?
Married.
Oh, fuck yeah, with like some little punk rocker kids.
Just the most beautiful punker kids of all time.
And
I
if you
just
were,
I just want to shoot a short film of Simon walking out those prison doors and Patty there just fucking waiting for him.
In the cap, in the mask.
Oh, and your spandex, your tight shiny spandex from the bus, and you're like leaning on some piece of shit car, just like waiting for me to get out.
No, she's there. She took the bus all the way. Simon.
Oh yeah, we take the bus home. Hell yeah.
Simon
He
brought me.
still can't drive.
No, we can't.
all right, I don't want to keep you guys, but give me a pulse on this. Are you willing to take all the questions that are on this feed?
I don't think there's like, I feel like a bunch of them we kind of answered out already, and some of them like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cruising.
So absolutely incredible, you guys. You're both so charismatic. What started as an uncomfortable built into love quasi love story, two misfits finding each other, no question, just pure love. Absolutely incredible. You're both so charismatic. Did I just do the same thing twice, or did they post the same thing twice?
No. There's a question at the end of that.
Okay. Adam so quasi love story, two misfits finding each other, no question, just pure love. Adam, was that your intention?
Yes, I think my intention was some play on, love is blind, that it could be anything. And the situation that we have here is unique because it's kind of a one-sided pen pal scenario where Simon is, getting these love letters. So he's already fallen in love with somebody before he met him. So, so it's about love, being blind, and it's about acceptance. What are you doing, Kyle? You making dinner over there? What's going on?
Is he? I think his hands.
Kyle, do you have a tech issue?
This is very funny.
I think Kyle's having a tech issue. Whoa.
Okay, we have a question here. Adam would love to hear you play us something, and he's already playing us something, so I segued that perfectly.
All right.
Okay.
Is something happened to him?
We lost Kyle.
He'll come back. He has a link. He's back.
All right, I'm back. I lost sound. Sorry.
You're back.
All right. What's the question?
It's a request actually. Adam would love to hear you play something.
Well, I kind of have been, so I'm just noodling around. So sorry.
Okay. Let's go with. This is a question for us. Well, what motivated you to add this to the roster? I don't really have a roster, but sure. Okay.
Feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, please.
Take the
Details.
You don't
specific.
You don't strike me as somebody who really needs praise, but okay.
We're actors, man. We're all insecure.
Yeah, honestly, when we came across this film, we've had a pretty long relationship with Visit, who's your distributor, right? And this is a really awesome quality to all the films that come to us through Visit. And this really struck a chord with me. It struck a chord with our programmers because we always think about resonance, right? We think about as the best way I could do this. I feel so weird talking about what the hell I think when you guys are on, but I'll whatever, I'll share.
It came
up. Yeah. The question just comes up to us is what impact can this film have on a person that could change their mind about something, could make them feel something that they can carry forward. I think too many films that I've watched in my life, they have no impact beyond 5 minutes, right? So, but then there are those other films, and I think we all have those films where I'm like, I watched that when I was 12, and I thought about it when I was 15 and 18 and 22 and 28, and it kind of becomes part of your DNA, right? And I think that those films are really important. I do think a lot of those films are indie films lately. They're made outside the studio system because but once times the studio system gets down to cutting the shit, that resonance goes away for this polished, sort of Instagram filter of a film. And so we're always from shorts to features looking for films that have that type of potential for an audience, because really we are very realistic about what we do, and we are a conduit between artist and audience, and that's literally why we exist. It's what we're supposed to do, right? And that's what film festivals should be about, I think. And I think the best ones always have been that. They've been a way for artists to connect with audiences, and so I mean, to answer your question, Asmalt, we loved the film. I mean, did you watch it? Yeah. So there's not really. I mean, it wasn't even a question of whether we were going to program it. We were like, let's get in touch with Tarek and get this film on, and let's program it Friday night. So we loved it. Jeez. Okay.
Cool.
Questions that I've missed here.
Again, I think a lot of things that are really beige, a lot of just beige filmmaking, it's like it comes down to the filmmakers not having any intentions whatsoever. Their intentions are to make money or to make something, a filler thing. I don't know. I can't speculate what's going through their heads. But if you have a story that you need to tell, it's a lot different than just a story that can be told, with tools and with talent. But having something that you want and you're passionate about it, and honestly, that's the hardest thing to get made in Hollywood.
I completely agree with that. It's so obvious that this film was personal for you, that you were exploring something personal, and I think that conveys to your cast, to your crew.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on set with you guys, but I imagine there was a lot of talking, a lot of communication. I've come onto sets as a producer, as as an AD or whatever, and I always say that my first impression of a set and how I gauge the pulse is how many people are actually talking.
Yeah.
The worst sets, everyone's shut up. Everyone's just looking at the ground. Everyone's just biding their time. The best sets, everyone's talking. Script supervisors saying, like, I think this should be done this way. And the actors are like, hey, can we try this? And it's like that the questions are just floating in the air, and there's a special energy about that film. And then somehow the camera just captures it, and then you bring it to Park City, It
can. I don't disagree with that. Versus the silent thing, but honestly, in this film, there wasn't time for that because there was over 70 locations, and it's an independent film. And the only stable location for over 2 days was Patty's house. So there was no time for any of that. My background is in documentary and quick moving things. So there was no time for any of that. It was literally just like, we're doing this, then we're on to the next thing. And then it was like, I would say that it was more like blind trust in your cast, that they had done their prep. And if there was something to fine tune, or they had any question or anything available, of course, always. But it's more, you get to a space where it's more telepathic than it is talking, like especially with a production where you have a really tight schedule, and you have like your crew is living off of trucks, and they're having to move them constantly. Like they're just like a lot of films, a lot of independents will pick 3 or 4 main locations, and they'll frame everything. This was not that film. This film was jumping every day. It was at a new spot every single day. We didn't have any comforts of like something familiar. So it was just about like stick and move. That was it.
Right.
We did have a lot of fun though. We laughed.
Of course. Yeah.
I will say that.
I think some of these questions have already been answered. Sorry guys. I'll flash it on screen for a second, but we talked about editing.
Editing. It's all samurai code, live and die by your decisions, like own it, also too, keep your hands off my film, also by that code, get final cut for yourself, and make the film that you want to make, but also you live and die by that. So it's all you. If you're the editor, you're the writer, director, editor, it's you. At the end, it's, so that can be really scary. It should be scary, but you have to really kill those darlings, like a lot of times, and you have to listen to the film. You have to listen to what the film is telling you. I mean that. It's totally an abstract thing, and then it's totally not. If you're cutting a film right now, listen to the film. The film will tell you what it wants to do, but you have to listen, so.
I think that's a really, really good point. And I think that intuition that you're talking about, that listening to, I think that's built up over a lot of time, because I frankly think a lot of people don't really have that sense, but obviously over, so many years of making so many films, you definitely developed a talent there. I want to thank you guys for coming on. It's been super humbling. Thank you so much for doing this. If there's any benefit at all to the current situation that we're in, honestly, it's that all three of you were able to come on. I don't think, as a fourth-year film festival, we've never been able to fly out 3 people. Like, we're at most able to bring out 1 person, 2 people maximum. But to have like entire cast and crew on, like tomorrow we have a world premiere and there's like 9 people. I'm like, this is the coolest thing on earth. Like, you get to talk to everybody, you get to talk to the sound designer, the composer. It's like, it's super cool. But, I really want live events to happen. And I hope that you guys get your chance to go on stage and sit outside and listen to 500 people laugh their ass off. Because you know what? Last year we had a feature film, Straight Up. I don't know if you've seen it. It was on Netflix recently. And it's so funny. And I was sitting in the back row last year at TIFF. And there was like 250 people, 300 people there, and everyone laughed at the same time. And it was so chill. And while I was watching your film, I was like, that would have happened again so many fucking times. So, you know what? Hopefully people had a blast at home. Yeah.
We're always amazed. There's a couple places in the film that I just never would have guessed people laugh like they laugh when it's live. And one of them, is it Kyle when he says, "What do you got in that Maraca over there?" Is that what it is? Like,
it's like hand me Saturday and Sunday or whatever that
Sunday
is.
and Monday.
Yeah, Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
Also, did you blast those every day?
Yeah.
That one does good too. That one surprised me too. But the hand me. What do you got in that Maraca? Hand me. Yeah, that one.
Medication.
I got it. Like the fuck.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Please keep in touch, and I'm honored. I'm really honored that we had this film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care, guys. Bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Emily.